Welcome to episode number 28 of Hoop Talk Fanatics. I am here with Philadelphia Sports Network's Barnard, and I'm excited to hear what his thoughts are on this upcoming Sixers season. So welcome. What are your thoughts on how the Sixers schedule is?
Thanks, man. I appreciate you for having me on. I'm always excited to talk Sixers. So appreciate it once again. I'm ready to get rolling.
What are your overall thoughts on the Sixers schedule?
It's interesting. It definitely feels like the NBA has put the Sixers a little bit more on the national map this year. They got 32 of their 82 games, or 34 of their 82 games on national television. A good amount of primetime games, more than usual. So I do think there's higher expectations for them league wide, which is nice to see. It's also a little different. I feel like the past few seasons, it's kind of the Sixers schedule has been pretty grueling early on, and then ends fairly easy where they can kind of coast. They've got a brutal stretch to end the year, so a little different mindset. But at the end of the day, you got to play all 82 or all 32 teams anyway, so it is what it is.
What are your thoughts on the Sixers going up against the Bucks in the second game of the season?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think they're getting thrown into the fire right away, opening with the Celtics and the Bucks. So two big time performers, big time Eastern Conference rivals right away. It's going to be an overreaction kind of time. I think if they win both, that people are going to be ready to claim the titles. If they lose both, people are going to be panicking. They're both great challenges, so I think it's great that they're going to be tested early on, and they're both going to be exciting games that are going to be fun to watch.
What do you think about the Suns Sixers game on November 7th?
Again, interesting. I always love the big man matchup. So DeAndre Ayton, obviously back there. It'll be cool to see that. The Suns are kind of an interesting team to watch for me this year because they obviously had the best record in the NBA last year by a large margin. But that Game 7 loss to the Mavs to me just like still leaves such an empty feeling, and just how brutal that they were beat. So kind of interesting that they're running it back after that, and there haven't been any notable changes outside of the handling of DeAndre Ayton and the re-sign, which was an interesting way that played out with them. Kind of like basically telling them they didn't think he was worth the money and ended up paying him anyway. So I don't know. I always like to see those two go against each other, Embiid and Ayton, and I'm curious to see if the Suns can produce the same level of success that they saw last year with this year. But that'll be a fun one for sure. I love the Western Conference matchups.
What games are you most looking forward to watching?
I think the November 22nd game against the Nets is one that everybody has circled. I'm certainly looking forward to that too. Who knows who actually suits up, what that Nets team looks like at this point. It feels like the biggest question mark across the entire NBA, with just the trio of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons, all guys that kind of have, their own individual question marks surrounding them. So it'll be fun to see Simmons kind of make his return to Philly with actually playing. We saw the first Nets matchup following the hard trade last year did not go so well for the Sixers. So I think everybody's going to be hungry for that matchup, and one that's going to get the attention everywhere. So I think that's one that I definitely have on my mind.
Do you think the Sixers can win the East this upcoming season?
I do. I think they have a chance. Everyone at the East is going to be so tight. It's probably the most competitive the East has been in several years this year. I personally have them ranked third when I look at, I think the Bucks and the Celtics are a little bit notch above them, but I think it's close enough that if a couple breaks go the right way, the Sixers can absolutely win it. I really like what they did with kind of building a complete roster, and we've seen them go through a bunch of different cycles with how they've constructed their team and built their roster, with shooting for star hunting and finding the best players. And I feel like this year they had a very nice plan that was executed, just making the simple moves, building a complete roster, building up the bench. I think the D'Anthony Melton signing is awesome. So I think that this is the most complete team that we've seen in a while, and I do think they have a legitimate chance at winning it.
What do you think about the Golden State game on December 16th?
Yeah, always fun to play Steph Curry. It's going to be quite an interesting like matchup. They're so fun to watch. I personally love watching Golden State play, just the style that they play basketball, all the movement, all the guys moving around, just how dynamic they all are. It's a difficult matchup for the Sixers, as it is for any team. That it's also kind of interesting. They play a good deal of small ball, so that's one where Embiid can kind of get his touches and eat offensively, but it's also not as easy of a defensive task for him, who's obviously the anchor of this defense, and the amount of movement and off ball just things that they do with the basketball is so impressive. So it's an interesting kind of meshing of styles. I think the Sixers are going to have a slower pace this year with Harden taking control for a full season. We obviously have Maxey, who will turn things up a couple notches whenever he gets the ball. But in general, I think they'll have a slower kind of pace. So it'll be a cool kind of contrast in styles of play and dynamic for that one. Well, I love seeing like the Western Conference teams getting a chance to play against them, because those are the teams that we play on a rare basis. So it's always nice to measure yourself up against the best, and that'll be a fun one to watch.
What is your early record prediction for the Sixers?
It's tough to put an exact number. I'm torn. I think the low 50s. I'm thinking 52 wins is where I'm going to lock it in this year. And they have a tough schedule with just down the stretch, especially. So it's one that I could see like a couple breaks changing a lot of things. But I do comfortably think they're going to end in the top 4 in the East. I think I'm penciling them in for that 3rd seed. And I still am by the mindset that as long as they got a ticket into the playoffs, they got a chance. We've seen them kind of battle and jostle for position, look for certain matchups in the postseason. I'm kind of over that thought process. I would like to see them just put their best forward out. It's all about building the chemistry, building up the play style towards the postseason. And as long as we got a ticket into the dance, we have a chance.
It should be a very entertaining season. And thank you so much for coming on and talking Sixers.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Thank you.